Joe's Learning Hub, a one-stop channel for teacher trainees. In my last video, you listened to a lecture on the board. You understood what a board is, the types of boards, and the skill of writing on a board. In this video lecture, you will be listening to charts, which is also one of the most important teaching aids in the teaching learning process. When we say teacher training, all that comes to our mind is charts, charts, and charts. You keep thinking of taking the charts to the school, doing a lot of chart work, making it more colorful, and many other things. So today you will be knowing how to use a chart, what are the types of charts, what is the purpose of chart, and how to make it useful in learning English language. So to begin with, let's understand what a chart is in the words of Edgar Dale. Edgar Dale defines charts as a visual symbol summarizing or comparing or contrasting or performing other helpful services in explaining subject matter. It is a combination of pictorial, graphic, numerical, or vertical material representing a clear visual summary of a content. So, a chart is something that helps in explaining a subject matter either by summarizing or comparing or differentiating or performing. So, these are the purposes of a chart. The main function of the chart is always to show relationships such as comparisons, relative amounts, developments, processes, classification, and organization. Now let's see why a chart should be used. Why can't we use only a board in the teaching learning process? You should remember that some diagrams cannot be made on the blackboard as they may be elaborate and they have to be made in advance. For this purpose, charts would be very much helpful. You should also understand three criteria of a good chart. The first one is size, second one is clarity, and the third one is suitability. You should always remember that the letters on the chart should be large enough to be seen by all the students in the class. That is the size of the letter. The second one is clarity. Whatever is written on the chart or whatever is drawn on the chart should be clear and only relevant things must be represented. And the third thing is suitability. Whatever is written on the chart should be suitable to provide necessary practice to the students. So, you should ask yourself three questions. Regarding size, you should ask yourself, is it large enough to be seen by all the pupils in the class? If your answer is yes, then your letters on the chart is of acceptable size. Then the second question to put to yourself is it clear? Are all the things relevant? If your answer is yes to these questions, then you fill the second criteria of clarity. And the third question that you should put to yourself is regarding suitability. You should ask yourself, is the content that is put on the chart is suitable for providing the necessary practice to my students? If your answer is yes, then you fulfill the third criteria. So, whenever you are preparing a chart, try to put these three questions into your mind regarding size, clarity, and suitability. If the answer is yes for all the three, you are doing a good job in the case of preparing charts. Next, we'll see what are the purposes of charts. The charts serve the following purposes. They are to show relationship by means of facts, figures, and statistics, to present materials symbolically, to summarize information, to show continuity in process, to present abstract ideas in visual form, to show development of structure, to create problems and stimulate thinking of students, to encourage utilization of other media of communication, and last but not the least, to motivate the students. So these are the purposes of using charts in a classroom as one of your teaching aids. It is not just enough if you fulfill the three criteria of good chart, that is size, clarity and suitability. You must also know how to use it effectively. So just let me list out how to use charts effectively. Always remember, put your heart and soul in preparing a chart. You should prepare the chart. Do not give the charts to others to be done, because you may not be knowing what is the purpose behind their writing on the chart. It is always better that you do the chart by yourself. Next is that the charts should be so large that every detail depicted should be visible to every student. And also it should display information only about one specific area in a subject. When you are using one particular chart, see to it that that particular chart speaks about only one specific area. Do not bring in so many areas into that chart. Always be specific and bring only one area in a subject. One chart should contain one specific area. The next thing is, a chart should not contain too much written material. Never write as much as possible on the chart. Do not overcrowd it. Avoid too much material. The next thing is, it should also not contain too many details. It really spoils the purpose of using the chart. So do not bring in too many details on the chart. And next thing is, a chart should have a neat appearance. Always carry it in a chart holder and display it on a chart holder. So your chart should have a neat appearance to pull the attention of the students. Whenever a chart is to be used in the classroom, you make sure that there is a provision for hanging the chart for all the students to see. Never hold the chart in the hand and explain to the students. Your concentration would be on holding the chart rather than on explaining the points to the students. So it is always better to hang the chart in the classroom on a chart holder. The next thing is, you should have a pointer to point out specific factors in the chart. As I told you in one of my previous videos, on the board you should have a pointer to point out what is written on the board. Likewise, here also you should always have a pointer to point out. Do not use your hands or fingers to point the points. The next thing is, you can use straight pins, staples, clips, hangers, paper clips to fasten your charts so that it will not get damaged. Keep your charts until your academic year ends or until your commission ends, in the case of you doing your teacher training. The next thing is, charts should be carefully stored and preserved for use in future. Do not throw away your charts. Those charts may be useful in one way or the other whenever needed. So preserve your charts carefully. This is how you can use the charts effectively in the teaching learning process. Now that you have known how to use charts effectively, you should also know the types of charts. The first one is the narrative chart, second one is the tabulation chart, third one the cause and effect chart, fourth one is the chain chart, and the fifth one is the evolution chart. So these are the types of charts that would be helpful for you in your teaching learning process. The first type is the narrative chart. Remember, this narrative chart always extends from left to right arrangement. The facts and ideas would be arranged from left to right. The facts would be on the left side and the ideas expressing those facts would be on the right side. So the narrative chart would be on the left to right arrangement. Now the second type is the tabulation chart. Remember, it can either be left to right or top to bottom. On the left corner, it should be facts, and the right side, it should be ideas for expression. Or if you are doing it from top to bottom, on the top corner, it should be the facts, and the bottom, it should be ideas for expression. So the tabulation chart has the arrangements of facts and ideas for expression from left to right or from top to bottom. So this is the tabulation chart. And the next chart is cause and effect chart. It is usually limited left to right arrangement of facts and ideas for expressing. So the facts and the ideas should be arranged from left to right. So this is cause and effect chart. And the next chart is the chain chart. Here the chain chart is nothing but the facts and the ideas are arranged in a circular or semicircular arrangement. If you are representing anything in a circular or a semicircular form, then that chart is called as a chain chart. You might have arranged the facts and the ideas from left to right, from top to bottom in a circular manner, but you may not have known the names of these charts. Hence, you should know what type of chart you are using when you are doing the chart. And the last type is the evolution chart. The evolution chart is a left to right arrangements of facts and ideas for expressing. Other than the chain chart, the remaining 4 types of charts are arranged from left to right, that is from facts to ideas of expressing. They are narrative chart, tabulation chart, cause and effect chart, and evolution chart. So next time when you are doing charts, know what is the purpose behind you doing the chart and what type of chart it should be. Should it be a narrative thing or a tabulation or a cause and effect or a chain chart or an evolution chart? So I think I have made it very clear to you on the types of the charts that you would be preparing for your practice teaching, or you may be using the charts when you become teacher in your schools. It is always better to be informed rather than to do things without any information. Now the last part of this session is how would you use your charts for language purpose. For language purpose, charts can be very helpful in presenting and practicing structures, vocabulary items, and composition. Besides the sentence charts, English teachers can use substitution table charts and vocabulary charts also. Substitution table charts and vocabulary charts really help the students to come out with their speaking skills, reading skills, and writing skills. So, never forget to use substitution table charts and vocabulary charts in an English classroom. Let me remind you that these types of charts are done before you come to the class. But there is one type of chart that you can do inside the class along with the students. That type of chart is called as anchor chart. In the anchor chart, the teacher and the student can write on it. This anchor chart acts as a support during the teaching learning process in the classroom, but it is done only inside the classroom along with the students. You can make use of the anchor charts to write phrases, clauses, tenses, and any part of grammar. You can also make use of this anchor chart to make the students to fill in the blanks, match the following, or anything that you want the students to remember. And this anchor chart can later be placed inside the classroom itself so that the students can have an idea of what the concept is all about. So remember, the other types of charts can be done beforehand, but the anchor chart can be done only inside the classroom. Since you will be preparing a chart in advance, remember to use different colors and different varieties. Do not use light colored sketch on the charts, as the students may find it very difficult to see it from the last row. Always use dark colors on the charts. When you use dark colored charts, there will be variety on the charts and it will bring positive effect on the students' learning. Remember, you should not use quarter charts or 3/4 charts or half a chart. Always use a single chart. And if one chart is not sufficient for the material to be written, do not use the other side. Use another chart paper to do the same. So, it is always advisable to use one full chart instead of half a chart or a quarter chart, and never use the other side of the chart. So, these are all the uses of charts in the teaching learning process. Hope you have understood how to use a chart, what are the types of charts, what is the purpose of chart, and how to make it useful in learning English language. So next time when you prepare charts, you should be well aware of what should be done and what not to be done. I shall meet you with yet another topic. Until then, take care.